Welcome to 60 for 30, a Magic the Gathering project that tries to get you a 60 card playable Magic deck for just around or under $30 in the paper world. This is our first video since I posted on Reddit telling people about it, so I was really excited about the response from everyone out there. Thanks, guys. It was a great experience talking to all of you, seeing the subscribers and viewers tick up. It makes this all worth doing, and I really, really enjoyed it, so thank you so much for that. This week, we have, drumroll please, Red Black Vampires! And for all of you saying, wait a second, didn't you just do a black vampire deck in standard? Yeah, okay, I did. And for all of you saying that Saffron Olive just did a red black vampire deck tech and Brewer's Minute and against the odds, yeah, he did. And that's part of the inspiration for this. I saw those videos, I thought they were great, and the budget on that deck list from Saffron Olive came out to about $387 in the paper world. And I thought, well, we can do better than that, right, as far as the budget list. The other catalyst that made me want to get in on this project was the release of Modern Masters 3, which had a few cards in it that are really good in red-black, like Mizzium Mortars, Terminate, and Olivia Voldaren, that the prices came down, putting them in the realm of cards that we can include in a budget list. So, without further ado, here's my take on the red-black vampire list. The vampires themselves are pretty straightforward. We're going with this madness mechanic, so we like discard and we like madness. The Falkenrath Gorger is a 2-1 for 1, which is a great 1-drop for an aggressive deck, which we largely are. Much more relevant, though, is the fact that he gives all of our vampires, and we're playing a lot of vampires, madness, and we're going to be discarding a lot of cards. So he's an efficient beater, aggressive creature, and helps the utility and synergy of the deck. Asylum Visitor is another aggressive creature, can get in for a lot of damage if they're not going to block it. Helps draw us cards with its ability, but more importantly has a madness cost. We can cast it for 2 mana if we end up discarding it. And then we have Insolent Neonate, which doesn't appear to be good, but is actually a key component in this deck. For just 1 mana, you're getting a 1/1 creature with Menace, which means it's going to get through for minimal amounts of damage, but it's going to get through a lot more than you expect. It can trigger madness by giving us a discard outlet, and it can help us draw into better cards late game. And it's a vampire, so it gets all the benefits of our vampire tribal. After those vampires, we get into some real beaters. We have Stromkirk Captain, which is a 2/2 with first strike that gives other vampire creatures we control +1/+1 and first strike, which can be really insane in a deck where we have 2/1 and 3/1 creatures, making them power heavy and first strike gives us a lot of advantages in combat. The most insane card in this deck, and one of the suggestions that Saffron Olive made in his video, again, links in the description, was that Smuggler's Copter is just dirty in this deck. I didn't play standard with Smuggler's Copter too much, but I now 100% understand why it was banned. This card is so annoying, and I feel bad playing it more because I'm sure people are sick of it, but it's just too good not to play. For just 2 mana, it comes down as a 3/3 flying creature, and all it takes to crew it is 1, and we have a bunch of 1-drops that can crew it. Dropping this early allows us to start getting in for some serious damage, drawing cards. It draws us cards and discards cards, which synergizes really well with Madness, the cards that we have in the deck, especially when all our vampires have Madness. Heir of Falkenrath is a 2/1 for 2 that lets us discard a card for our Madness synergies, and transforms into a 3/2 flyer, which is going to get there in a hurry. And we run 2 Olivia Voldarens, a 4-drop 3/3 flyer. Doesn't sound too good, but this is kind of our late game option. We have this card in the deck almost exclusively so that we have an insane late game, because if they don't have answers, which granted isn't going to be super often, she's going to die a lot, but she's going to draw removal, or she's going to win you the game. She can kill creatures with an ability, she gets huge as a result of using that ability, and then she can steal creatures for as long as you control her, which can absolutely take over a game by itself. We also run this really heavy suite of removal, which makes this a really good matchup for most creature-based decks. So we have Fiery Temper, which looks like an expensive lightning bolt, but the fact that we can cast it for madness has a lot of synergy with our deck and lets us make some insane plays, because normally discarding is going to hurt us, And the trade-off is that we get some insane advantages from discarding cards, but here we're going to discard cards, play those cards anyway, and still get those insane trade-offs, so it all works really well together. And that's why we're running Fiery Temper instead of Lightning Bolt, although if you have them lying around, Lightning Bolt is just an amazing card and should probably be played instead of Fiery Temper. Terminate is just a great removal card. There's not that much to be said about it. At instant speed for 2 mana in the colors we're playing, destroys any creature, no limitations, doesn't get much better than that. And then Mizzium Mortars serves 2 purposes. It removes creatures early to let us get through with some of our early damage, and it also serves as a sweeper late game if we really need to, which again, like Olivia, helps us scale out of the aggressive deck format into a later game. Our lands are pretty basic. We have Dragonskull Summit, which is our dual land that's going to come in untapped almost all the time, and then we have Mountains and Swamps. If we play a turn 1 Falkenrath Gorger, and then turn 2 Heir of Falkenrath, and get in for 2 damage with the Falkenrath Gorger, that's 2 damage. Turn 3, we play Asylum Visitor for 2 mana, discard Fiery Temper to flip Heir of the Night, and cast Fiery Temper at our opponent, and then we get in for 8 damage, because it's the 3 from the Fiery Temper plus the 5 from our creatures. And then on turn 4, we're just dropping a Stromkirk Captain. He buffs our creatures. We attack with the 3 that don't have Summoning Sickness, and that's an 11 damage swing on turn 4. And for all you math majors out there, that's 21 damage. So that'll do it. If they have some blockers, they're still going to probably lose because all your attackers will have first strike damage, so they're just going to lose their creatures and have nothing to stop you winning next turn. So it can win like that, it can win with flyers, it can win in the late game. It really does a lot, and it gets there in a hurry. Some deck notes. I've said it once, and I'll say it again. The synergy with this deck is absolutely beautiful, right? The Smuggler's Copter is a ridiculously broken card, and it's even more broken when instead of drawing and then discarding, you're just drawing and then playing a card that you would otherwise have to discard, because you're just drawing cards on the most efficient creature ever. This deck is a bunch of fun. I think I'll actually buy it personally. I'll splurge because it's aggressive and interactive. I know I've been doing a lot of aggro decks, and I'll be trying to mix that up, but this doesn't feel like a cheap aggro deck. This feels like a modern deck because of the large amount of interaction we have, and it hits our price point. Just around $31 in the paper world from TCG Player, and even cheaper, way cheaper, right around $6 from Card Hoarder Online. And it's even cheaper than that if you forego the Dragonskull Summits. They're really important to the deck because they smooth out the mana curve and they come in untapped, and they're not that expensive. So if you can afford them, I highly recommend them, but otherwise you could probably get away with basics or guild gates. Some sideboard options and strategies. The real takeaway here is we run a lot of removal, right? Between our Fiery Tempers, our Terminates, and our Mizzium Mortars, we're running 11 potential removal spells, and in a lot of matchups, the ones that can only target creatures aren't going to be good. And by that I mean Mizzium Mortars and Terminate. So in those cases, think about having something like Lava Spike that just adds a little extra reach, since they're not going to have defenses early. I'm talking about like control decks that we want to win in 4 turns if possible, or combo decks, or something like Tron where we're just trying to get in damage as fast as possible. Something like Lava Spike is going to do a lot more work than Mizzium Mortars in that matchup. And then Olivia is just too inefficient against slow control decks, and decks that are going to way outscale us, because she's just going to eat a removal spell and slow us down. So probably board her out in that type of matchup. Alright guys, that's been it. 60 for 30. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for subscribing. Thank you all for telling your friends about us. That was a passive-aggressive nod to do that so that we can continue making these videos. Hopefully you liked it. Hopefully you have fun with this deck. I've been having a lot of fun with it, because that's the goal after all, right? To go out there and have fun with it. Best of luck out there, guys.